What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. And today we're going to be talking about the heat with this completely insane heat wave going on, and with the summer slowly coming to an end. We figured we would talk about our top 10 ways that we deal with the heat while visiting various theme parks. So, before we get started, if you're new to the channel and you like the content, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, as we are shooting for our goal of 1,000 subs. If you want to help support the channel even further, then you can smash that thumbs up button. It'd be greatly appreciated. So, one of the things that a lot of my friends and a lot of my family say when I try to get people to come with me, because there's some parks that I go to with Asher that I want you always see somebody with me, and that's so that we can kind of rider swap. And usually it's really not a problem getting people to come with, but here this summer it's been a bit of an issue because everyone's always saying the same thing. Oh man, it's just so hot. It's so hot. I can't deal with the heat and all this and that. So obviously, we've been dealing with the heat for a long time, all the way back from when we were in the military to the wool field and all different ways. But we're going to show you our top 10 ways that we've used to deal with the heat and be able to beat the heat at Six Flags, Disney World, etc. Starting off with number 10. Number 10 is take breaks frequently. A lot of people do this. They have kids, and I understand that children's energies are a lot more efficient than us adults. I sat there and I'm watching Asher run up and down stairs yesterday for 4 hours. He's running up 4 flights of stairs, going down the slide, running around, going up 4 more flights of stairs, going down the slide. I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, dude, the amount of money I could make at work with that energy just in one night. You know, it's insane. Kids' energies are definitely a lot better than adults' energy, especially if you're in your 40s and 50s or your grandparents. You're going to realize that your grandchildren's energy are a lot more, they have a lot more energy. Okay, anyone with kids completely understands that. So the best thing is to take breaks frequently. And you don't have to necessarily sit down to take breaks frequently. If you're going to theme parks, then the best thing to do is to go into certain attractions that have AC or that it's not as hot but gets you out of the sun. If, like when we go to SeaWorld or Six Flags, sometimes when we're walking through an area, we'll purposely walk into a store. And we walk into a store to kind of get a little brief break from the AC, get a break from the heat in the AC, and it kind of gives us a break away from the sun. And even though it's for 5 or 10 minutes, that 5 or 10 minutes will make a big difference when it comes to beating the heat. And number 9 is hydration. Now, I see a lot of people every single summer when we go to Six Flags, and every single summer when we go to SeaWorld and Six Flags and all of these parks, there's always at least one time per day, if not more, of someone getting heat exhaustion, falling out, and needing to be rushed into the AC. And trust me, hydration is one of the biggest and most important things, and when we get to the number 1 spot, you'll understand why. Gatorade does not hydrate you. You can sit there and you can drink Powerade and you can drink Gatorade all day, but it will not hydrate you. The only thing that Gatorade and Powerade does is replenish your electrolytes, which also help with hydration. But if you drink nothing but Gatorade and Powerade throughout the day, you're going to get dehydrated really fast, and you're going to start feeling fatigued, and you're going to start feeling like crap, and it's just not worth it. There was a saying in the military when they would give us an option to drink water or to drink Gatorade. And at first, because people, when we play football, when we play basketball, you know, we're out there, we're drinking in the heat, and we're running, and we're doing our thing. Gatorade just tastes better, so that's what we go with. But when you're out in the extreme heat and the sun is barreling down on you, Gatorade is going to be your worst enemy, because for every 1 bottle of Gatorade, you have to drink 2 bottles of water to offset it. So the best thing to do is to just drink water. And what we do is we drink water through the entire time of our park day. And when we get ready to eat and we sit down in the AC and eat, we'll drink a soda. Whether it's Sprite, 7-Up, Sierra Mist, something that's a clear liquid. It tastes better than water. If you want to drink Powerade and Gatorade during that time, that'll be a good time to do that. And then when we're getting ready to go back out into the heat, we refill our jugs and stuff with water and we go back into it. So the best thing to do is hydration, one of the most important things to beat in the heat. Number 8 is taking advantage of the shade. Now, a lot of people, some parks don't really have this opportunity because it's just, wide open. There's nothing to protect you from it, but take advantage of the heat. A lot of these parks have awnings, and a lot of those awnings are there for, in our eyes, when we look at it, and it's hot and it's in the heat, we use those awnings to walk under it because it's a shade. And you'll notice that it's still hot in the shade, but it's just not as hot. And you're like, man, you get in the shade and then you get a nice little breeze going, and the breeze feels really, really good. So take advantage of those shaded areas, whether it's walking under a tree, whether it's taking a bridge, like walking under a pavilion. A lot of those short little walks really make a big difference when you're going throughout your park day, because I'm telling you right now, that sun bearing down on you, it drains you. So take advantage of the shade, and take advantage of, sometimes you'll get a breeze going and it feels really good. There's nothing wrong with stopping there and, talking to the kid, keeping them entertained, and just enjoying a little bit of the shade. Number 7 is never be afraid of taking a ride on some kiddie rides. Now, a lot of these rides that you go to that are in Disney World or that you go to are at California's Great Adventure or Silver Dollar City, some of them at Six Flags, a lot of them at Six Flags. There are some indoor rides during these times. At Six Flags Over Texas, you have Runaway Mountain, you have Justice League, you have Pirates, the Spelunkers. If you go to Fiesta, Texas, you've got the Pirates ride. All of these rides are all indoors. And although they may be mediocre kid rides, maybe not a lot of fun for you, but if you have the little ones with you, they'll enjoy the ride and be completely entertained, and it gives you a break from the heat. Like when you're going to SeaWorld, you can go to Discovery Cove. A lot of those areas are in the AC. The Penguin exhibit at SeaWorld San Antonio it's a moderate AC, but it's not as hot as it is outside. So you get a break from that, and it kind of gives you, if you get through the queue line and you're inside, you get away from the heat. And a lot of times in the summer, I know in the summertime, they have like fans blowing and AC going in most of those attractions. So it's really, really good to take advantage of those to kind of give yourself a break from that heat, so you don't wear yourself down before the end of your park day. Number 6 is take advantage of the water-based rides. Um, I think just about every single park has these. In the heat of the summer, towards the middle of the day, these lines of these rides are completely insane. And they're insane that way for a reason, because every single person has the same idea. Man, it's really, really hot out here. Let's go on the water ride so we can cool off. Okay, everybody has the same idea. And believe me, they made these rides, when they designed these queue lines and everything, they made them exactly for that reason. So 99% of the time, each one of these queue lines are going to be in the shade. It's still going to be hot, but you're not going to be in the barreling sun. So if you're riding like Roaring Rapids or Gully Washer at Fiesta, Texas, a lot of these queue lines, with the exception of Gully Washer, are pretty well shaded, and it'll be really, really cool. And when you get on the ride, there's a good chance of you getting wet, and a lot of times that water is really, really cold. And so if you're hot, it'll cool you off. But there is the thing that I have realized when waiting in these natural queue lines and not skipping the lines, is that in the process of waiting for the ride, you're not nearly as hot as you were going to the ride. So then when you get on the ride and you get splashed with this really, really cold water, um, it really chills you out, and you're like, oh my God, I'm so cold now. And then you start walking, you get back in the heat, and you cool off, or you warm up. So it's definitely something taking note of. Something that we do quite often is take advantage of the water rides, because they just cool us off almost instantaneously. So if you have your skip the lines for Six Flags, and you have memberships, or you have quick queue at SeaWorld, definitely take advantage of this. You got Lightning Lane at Disney World, you got Splash Mountain, and a lot of other water stuff there. So definitely take advantage of that. Number 5 is shows. And a lot of people don't like going to shows because it's like, man, I came to Six Flags because I wanted to ride roller coasters. I wanted to do this, wanted to do that, wanted to do this. And you're like, okay, that's all fine and dandy. But if you're in the heat and it's hot and you're feeling a little drained, just take 10, 15 minutes out of your day and be like, hey, let's go to a show. If you go to SeaWorld, every single one of their shows at SeaWorld are pretty well covered, and it's pretty cool. If you're like extremely hot and you're at SeaWorld, go on the app and see what time the show times are, and go to the orca encounter and sit up on the front row where you're in the splash zone. When those whales come and splash you with 50-degree water, I guarantee you if you're hot, you'll cool off almost instantaneously because that water is freaking cold. 50-degree salt water, it's cold. Okay, believe me. You can go to Ocean Discovery if you're going to Disney World. There is a lot of shows that you can stop in. There's Carousel of Progress. All of these different rides are in the AC. They give you a break from the heat, and there's definitely nothing wrong with taking a little break and just kind of relaxing and watching a cool little cute show. Number 4 is investing in an insulated water bottle. Now, anybody that's ever went to Six Flags with me has seen me with this every single time. In the recent video that we made about our water park review, you can see as I'm sitting at the table, I have this really, really tall insulated water bottle. And when I go to Six Flags, I spent money for the membership Insulated Cups. And these things are really, really good because they hold ice for an extended period of time. So a lot of these places in the summer will run out of ice. And I've seen this happen quite frequently. My very first year going to Six Flags and doing the whole YouTube thing, I was using the plastic bottles, and I'd always have to refill ice and water so frequently because it's so hot. And because it's so hot, the heat from the outside melts the ice and it just turns into warm water. So the best thing to do is to invest yourself into an insulated cup so that way that ice stays cold. And then when you need to go refill your water, you don't really have to get ice unless you just want to top off your ice. All you got to do is just add water to it, and then you're good. And then your water stays cold for hours. So the insulated cups is probably the really best thing when you're out in the extreme heat. When we went to San Antonio in our last trip, it was really hot. It was like 105 degrees. And so we had the insulated cups, and we just kept drinking water. When we were refilled, we just refilled it with the water. We already had the ice. It never melted. I think an entire park day, we only had to refill ice one time. And that was because we were transferring between soda and water. Because just not going to do that. But definitely invest in that. It's a really good investment, and it's definitely something the parks will not turn you away for doing. If you bring a cup like that to the park and you're going to be putting water in it, they're not going to tell you no because you're just like, hey, I'm getting water. They're going to let you get your water. This is the best way for you to stay cool and to stay hydrated at the same time. Number 3 is taking advantage of water areas. Now, James, what do you mean by water areas? Anybody that's ever been to any of the San Antonio parks, whether it's SeaWorld San Antonio or Six Flags Fiesta Texas, will understand this. Six Flags Fiesta Texas has a water park in its park. SeaWorld has a water park within its park, and SeaWorld has a splash pad in that park. Now, when it came time to let the kids go play in the splash pad when we were at SeaWorld, I let them go do their thing, get soaking wet, play in the water, do what they wanted to do, and I just sat back and, in the shade and let them do their thing. If I got hot in the shade, I just went and dunked my head in some of the water and kind of cooled myself off. Nothing wrong with that. If you're going to Six Flags over Texas, then you're kind of boned. But the good thing about Six Flags parks is they do have these water sprinklers on the fans that blow water on the fan, so you can kind of just sit in there and take into that. If you have a membership, then you can probably do half a day at Six Flags, and then you can probably go across the street to Hurricane Harbor and kind of just chill. But if you're at an amusement park that has some water-based stuff there, I would definitely take advantage of it. Six Flags over Texas does have one, actually. They've got the Mr. Freeze area over there, which is completely full, and when it's summertime and it's heat, they got this thing going. The water feels great. They've got a sprinkler, and Asher loves going over there and playing in that water to cool off. So definitely take advantage of that, because that'll definitely cool you off really fast. And a lot of these places, you don't have to wait in line. You can just go get wet and then go back about your day. Number 2 is investing in skip the lines. Now, I know what you're going to say, but James, that costs a lot of money. Peep some knowledge here, okay? And this is how, when I go by myself, I very rarely even take any breaks, okay? I just refill my water, go, I eat once a day, and then I call it a day. And let me explain to you why. Because if you have these skip the lines, whether they're flash paths, lightning lanes, quick cues, these things here will save you a lot of time and it will save you a lot of pain when it comes to dealing with the heat. Because the more you ride, the more you're doing something, and the more you're getting that breeze on your face. And that breeze on your face is going to keep you cool. So the more you ride, the cooler you are. Um, when I go to Six Flags all the time, and it's just me, like we're taking a trip to Six Flags by ourselves on Thursday. It'd be just me. So I will use my flash pass and I will ride 100% of the day. I will get there. I'll plan my day out, be like, okay, I'm going to ride this first, and I'm going to go there, I'm going to ride it, and then I'll go from that ride to the nether one, whatever's closest to it, and then I'll just kind of work my way around the park, consistently riding, and at the same time I'm having fun and I'm staying cool at the same time. If my water starts running low, I'll go fill it up on the way to another ride, and then I'll just hop on and go. That's usually how our days go. A lot of the stuff that we do, we don't include in the videos, but we ride a lot more than we do. That's, when we make our vlogs and stuff. But that's something that's definitely worth investing in, is those quick cue to be able to skip those lines so you're not sitting in the blazing heat waiting in line. I think a big one for this is Shockwave at Six Flags Over Texas. If Shockwave is running at full capacity and it's got a really, really long line, there's a big turn area where there's absolutely nothing to protect you from the sun until you get to the train. So just keep that in mind. Paying the extra money to skip the lines is probably worth it in the end, because you'll be able to skip the lines and ride a lot more, and you'll be able to stay a lot cooler. Number 1, and this is probably the most important thing of all. I see people all the time that make a spare the moment day, be like, hey, let's just go to Six Flags today, hon. Oh, okay, yeah, let's go. Let's grab the kids and go. Okay, there is a lot of good things. It's spontaneous and it's fun, and the kids will love it. But here's the thing. You need to hydrate before you go to the park. And this is what I understand. Let me explain this to you. If you're not fully hydrated and you go into the blazing heat, it's going to be a lot harder for you to rehydrate yourself than it is if you were already hydrated. When I'm getting ready to take a trip and I know it's going to be hot, I will spend the entire day prior drinking nothing but water, making sure that my body is 100% hydrated. When I'm getting ready to go to Disney World here in about a month or so, I've got a few days off, and I'll spend those few days getting plenty of rest and drinking lots and lots of water. The reason for this is when I go into the heat, I don't have to rehydrate. All I have to do is just keep drinking water and stay hydrated. It's a lot harder to rehydrate your body when you're starting to get dehydrated than it is to hydrate your body when you're already hydrated. This is probably one of the biggest things that in the military, when we were going through basic training, it's one of the things that we kind of found out the hard way, because the drill sergeants would tell us to drink water in the barracks, leave the Gatorade alone, drink the water. And we didn't quite understand that until about the second week we were there in the blazing humidity in Fort Leonard Wood. It's humid hot and you sweat so much. And so after that second week, we started drinking more water in the barracks, and we realized when we were out there in the heat in full uniform and everything that it's definitely a lot more tolerable to, be drinking water in the barracks and, move out into the heat and just keep drinking water there. You stay a lot hydrated, especially if you're doing a lot of walking and a lot of moving and a lot of sweating, which going to these theme parks, you do a lot of. So definitely drink water and definitely get hydrated prior to your park day, because I'm telling you right now, you will thank me for it later. Just do it. And if you make a spontaneous trip, then just pick you up some water bottles and start hydrating on the way there the best that you can. So that way you don't end up ruining your entire park day because you just didn't drink enough water. So that's going to be it, man. That's our top 10 tips for what we use to beat the heat every trip that we take. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more top 10 videos, let me know in the comments down below, and we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.